Please note that when we try and value stock, we're going to be using but in this case we're going to be using weighted average method. And I said to you that we use weighted average method because we have bought so many items at different prices. Now we can trace which item was sold and what was the cost price of that item was sold. So basically we have all these items that are just in one place and they were all bought at different prices. We can't estimate what their cost price is, hence we had to come up with a new method, which is a weighted average method. So with the weighted average method, you just have to find the average price. And how do you find the average price? You take the cost price of stock at the beginning of the year, you add it with the cost price of purchases, but from those purchases you have to minus the cost price of the returns, and then you divide by the number of units that we had at the beginning of the year or the month, plus your purchases, the number of units you purchased minus the number of units you returned. Please note that on the numerator you're going to have the cost price, in the denominator you're going to have the units. All right, now in this case you realize that you are simply using the weighted average method. They gave you the number of handbags at the beginning of the year, which is the first, actually the beginning of the month, which is the 1st of Feb 2010, and they gave you the value of those units. We had no carriages. It's quite easy for you to calculate but we couldn't calculate our cost price for purchases because we are missing a cost price of items that were bought, of handbags that were bought on the 25th of February 2010. So we need to calculate B first before we can find that question mark, which is the cost price of all your purchases. Please remember, the cost price will always include your carriage on purchases. It will also include your custom duties if you do have any. All right, and for your returns, when you calculate the cost price of your returns, you don't include the cost price of your carriage for those returns, because guys, if goods were delivered to you, when you return them back, that delivery cost, you can't claim it back. It's gone. All right, it's gone. So basically, when you calculate the cost price of the returns, remember not to include carriage on purchases. I've seen some questions that actually include carriage on purchases. I don't know why they will do that, because you cannot claim back the money that you paid for carriage when those goods were delivered to your warehouse. Now here we are given goods that were returned. We're also given goods that are still remaining. And we don't have goods that were, well, handbags, the number of handbags that were sold. It's quite easy. You just have to check how many handbags you had available for sale and how many do you still have that are remaining. The difference will be the number of handbags that were sold. And we also cannot calculate the cost price of handbags at the end of the month because we don't know which method was used. We have to find the valuation cost first before we can try and find. So basically we need to find D. Now D in this case, you can't use first in first out because they told you that we are valuing our stock using weighted average method. So you have to use weighted average method. First, let's start by completing this table. For me to get that 31,250, all I did was to take 250 times 125. That's how I get 31,000. That's how I got that 31,250. And for me to calculate B here, I'm just going to take 260 times 105, and and then I will add 4,000, and then it'll simply give me 31,300. Now there's a problem. There were handbags that were returned, but when were these handbags returned? These handbags returned to supplier during the month, which is 26th of February 2010. So they were returned on the 26th of February 2010. It makes sense that these items, these handbags, were purchased on the 25th, which is 105. That's why the cost of the handbags returned will be 105. Okay, in a lot of questions they will specify as to when were those items returned, purchased. They must tell you when they were purchased so that you can be able to determine the cost price of the items that were returned. Now all we need to do now is to figure out Obviously, the cost price of items returned will be 1,050. We now need to calculate the average price. We do have cost price of items at the beginning of the month. We have item cost price of purchases. We have cost price of item returned. Remember, you're going to take this plus that you minus the cost price of returned, and you're going to take that plus that you minus the number of handbags that were returned for you to arrive at the cost price. Now, question is, how did I get this 975? Now, for me to get 975, all I did is this. These are the number of units that were available to be sold. Question is, how do we know that it's 975 items, handbags that we sold? It's because they told you how many items we still had, handbags we still had on hand, which is 275. So you're going to take 1,250 minus this 275 is going to give you that 975, which is the number of units or handbags that were sold. And they give you the selling price. You just have to multiply the two to find your sales value. But the problem is we don't have the cost price of our closing stock. Okay, remember here they said we're simply using weighted average method to value our stock, but which stock system are we using? They told you that we are simply using the periodic inventory system. We may not calculate cost of sales without the value of our closing stock. So we need to first calculate the value of our closing stock before we can try and calculate cost of sales. Now from there, we're just going to calculate our average price first. Our average price will simply be cost of purchases at the beginning of the year plus cost price of units or handbags at the beginning of the year plus cost price of purchases minus cost price of returns, and then divided by 1,250. That 1,250 is made up of, here I showed you how to get it. You took 250, you added your purchases, you minus your return. That's how you got that 1,250. It'll give you cost price per unit, which is 121.220. You use that to calculate the value of your closing stock. You calculate the value of your closing stock, you will simply take 275 and multiply by 121.20, and it will give you your value of your closing stock. Now, to calculate cost of sales, you will simply take that, add it with that, minus this, and minus that, and you will get the value of your cost of sales. All right.